All right, so we're back, and today we are cutting the sink base here to fit the sink itself. You guys haven't seen the sink yet. It doesn't look particularly nice out of the box standing vertical like this, but it's a pretty basic 30-inch clay farmer's sink, apron front sink, whatever you want to call it. So you'll see this face on the front. It's got some nice features like a drop-in cutting board and whatnot. Offset drain, so you can store a bunch of stuff in the bottom and not cover your drain. So pretty nice sink, heavy. We need to remove basically this entire section. We're not going to do one of these cuts where it's like a U where there's some material left on the face. The entire face goes away and is replaced by the porcelain. So basically from there down just goes bye-bye. So it's a 10-inch depth, so I already have my line drawn 10 inches down like so. We only need to go back 19 inches, which I haven't marked yet, but that's probably about here. So I'm gonna make that mark, and then basically from here forward goes away. We do have to be cautious on this painted surface to maintain this not being damaged, and it has to be dead straight. So I'm going to put some painter's tape on here. One, so I can see my pencil mark, and two, so as I drag my skill saw across, I don't damage the surface. So that's the next step. On we go. All right, so it's not a great line, but you can see it there. That line gets a little messy up here, but I know which one I need to stay on. Is my 10-inch mark depth-wise that way from the height. Now, this may look like overkill to a lot of you, but you got to realize I'm coming in here with a skill saw. And because of the design of my saw, I'm coming down this way so the blade doesn't interfere with the cabinet doors. So look at how much of that saw would have been dragging on the material. So that's why there's so much tape. Allows you to come down without causing trouble. On top, the line continues, and then it stops at 19-inch depth and goes up and over. So that's the first cut. All right, moment of truth. There it is. Quite a thing. Hopefully the tape also protected the surface from not peeling. We'll see. Let me get some air and blow this off. She's not a whole lot holding it together. Falling apart already. All right. So let's see how we did. Let's take our tape off. See if our painted surface still looks nice. Yeah, we did all right. I'm pretty happy with that. Slight mark there from the saw. No, it's just sawdust. Perfect. So then the sink will sit on top of there. I don't know if I'm gonna glue these into position and save them for structure. I will say, one thing that's nice about these cabinets that I'm happy with is they put this base in here knowing full well that the majority of people are gonna be cutting this to do farm sinks. So I really like that they put this in for structure. I've done this before where this is a hollow box, and when you start cutting it, things get really weird. So now when I install the sink, it's gonna sit up here. I can use this as part of my structure, pad it up with 2x in multiple locations and hold the sink, which is clay. So you want it to have support, but strategically, you don't want it to be pressure in certain areas because then it will crack. But anyway, we'll stick to the corners basically. I might put one support in the middle. I'm not sure. That way, if you were to drop something in the middle, you wouldn't have the clay bowing and cracking, theoretically. I'll look in the instruction manual, see what they recommend. But anyway, so that's that cut. And soon we'll be in the bus with the sink on top. On we go. Okay, here's everything on the passenger side lined up as it would sit with the countertops on top. And the sink base has been cut. So I'm just trying to get everything kind of exactly where I thought it would be. We're leaving a pretty big gap back here. So I haven't determined yet if I'm going to do some fillers to bolt these to the wall. I think I'll have to put a couple of fillers. So maybe, you know, maybe I'll just run one big 2x along this wall and some shims, just so I can have some sort of attachment. I think that's wise. You know, obviously we're going to be driving around, so just having it to the floor doesn't make a lot of sense. So you take a corner, everything shifts in the cabinet, you have your kick space here, and it's not secured to the wall. It's just going to want to rip out of the floor. Take the countertop with it and everything, so that would be a disaster. So yeah, I think I'll run that filler. On this side, we might not need the filler. We're going to try and get a little closer than that, but we still might need a filler. It's not the end of the world. Filler is really, really easy. But anyway, what I wanted to illustrate is that we're basically, so this is my initial, like, preliminary idea, was where we were going to end. And then I realized, you can see the white line under there, that it was actually going to be there. So it's right where I thought it would fall, which is great. I've left enough room for tiny, tiny filler strips in here. And the reason that this sticks out in the way it is, it just has to do with the way it hinges. So this does not hit the cabinet, it stops on its own, and everything works without interfering. So we need filler strips for those gaps. I think I do want to set the sink in and just get a final shot. Then I need to do some homework on my butcher blocks, make sure that I can get the size I need. I'm sure I can, I would rather not buy one that's way too big. So they make island ones, which are like 4 feet wide. I don't need that. I need 28 inches because of this extra depth here, and which is nice. We're going to get a nice deep countertop, but 9 feet by 28 basically is what I need. And the good news is, because the sink's here, I could theoretically put a seam right here, right? So the butcher block on this side would be cut around the sink, and then we'd have a tiny seam right here, and then one piece of butcher block goes this way. So I could do one piece and cut the sink out, or I could do what's essentially like a hockey stick or an L right here, and then have one rectangle this way. So there's some options there. We'll figure that out momentarily. It's going to rest on top of the sink itself. As you can see, there's no structure here. We'll get the sink in there to help illustrate that. All right, Bree came and helped, so the sink's in place. I cut it right. Props to me. And props to Bree for lifting it out of the box, which was almost impossible with me. So we were a little concerned about this area here, but I don't think it looks bad, because you gotta remember there's also gonna be a countertop on top. And so we have clearance. Very good. So, next steps. I'm going to be working on this cabinet, turning it into an oven base. Bree's going to be scraping any little bits of spray foam off of the plywood and priming all the visual plywood so they look like walls. So white, white, white. And then in the bathroom, white and white. So that's it. Let's get this heavy sink back out of here. So you can move this away and do your priming. And then when everything goes back in, we'll be setting it and screwing it for real. But now we know it fits. Yay! Good. All right, so catching up on progress. This is the oven base, which was a 3-drawer cabinet. I cut out the top 2 drawers and I left the bottom drawer. Then I had to build this filler panel. I left this piece of the face just to give me some sturdiness to glue to. But the oven goes above this by 1.5 inches and sits flush with the top of the countertop. So we have 1.5 inch piece of butcher block coming. So to get these dimensions right, I had to account for that 1.5 inches. So from there to here, 16.25. From here to here is 20.25. Excuse me, that's 16.125. And from here to here is 20.25. And we'll cut out that rectangle, and that's going to be the spot for our oven to fill. So then the remainder of the wood will be painted blue to match, and then the oven gets installed when the countertop's on top. But this can get bolted into place in the bus. The only thing I have to do to this cabinet aside from that is cut a small hole in the bottom and the back for a gas line and for a power line. But it's almost done, so I'll cut that out now. All right, so here's the update. Bree's doing her top coat of just bright white so it matches the ceilings. Say hi, Bree.
Hi.
There you go. And so the rail here, which is going to be a 2x into 1x, gives me the perfect spacing. So we're going to have between 28 and 30 inches of countertop. I haven't decided if I'm going to cut back the butcher block, but the butcher block sections that I ordered are 5 feet by 30 inches. So we'll be able to use those and determine, what our total depth is. But this allows me to have something to attach the cabinets to, and my plumbing down there doesn't need a special chase or anything. They'll be far enough away. Let me just get this last piece of pine right here into that, and then we can, since she's almost done painting that wall, we can actually bolt up this side and see what they look like. So on we go. Okay, it's a huge moment. We're finally screwing in the first cabinet. It's like permanently staying here. It's not coming out again. So that's the very first step in the kitchen, becoming real. So we're gonna do 3 of my long 2.5 self-tappers. The only reason I'm using the self-tappers is because I like the head on them. I don't need it for the wood, but I like the flat pan head, and I had these. So I'll do 3 of these in the back of each cabinet, probably 4 in the long one, going into our wall panel there, and they're not gonna go anywhere. Try not to hit the fresh paint with the door. Ah! And there it is. Tight. How much paint did I get on it? Just a little. Ta-da! How exciting.
Very.
On to the next. Whew. Nice paint hands. Show me the paint hands. Yes. Skilled operator. All right, final update for, I think, this video. So everything on the passenger side here is bolted in, minus the fridge. I haven't figured out how I'm going to tie that down yet. They don't have anti-tip brackets like large fridges do. So I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do that yet, but we'll figure it out. Not a big deal. But that's screwed in, and that's screwed in. The sink, again, is just resting here, but we wanted to check all our clearances with the cabinets and such. So we can open the fridge 100%, and we can open the cabinets 100% without anything bumping into each other. So that's the spacing that we need to have there. So pretty nice look. Really happy with that. Bree painted these final coats of bright white. So we definitely are not going to be dark in here, that's for sure. The floor is wood, the butcher block is wood. So definitely going to need some pops of color here and there. But we'll make it happen. So on this side, not screwed down yet, but just test fit in. So recap, we ordered this without a top drawer, and I built the filler. I also had to reduce the toe kick. We ordered this as a 3-drawer unit. I removed the top 2 drawers and I created a filler so our oven fits in there pretty nice. It's not perfect. Probably needs a second coat of paint, but it's pretty good. So the oven fits in there and the last drawer is undisturbed. And then this one is unmodified. So that side's basically done as well. What modifying this stove did was leave us with 2 beautiful drawers. So there's the bigger one, and I think that's going to look pretty awesome under the couch. It fits in this spot perfectly. So when I build the couch, I'll build in the drawer slides, which of course I saved from the cabinet, and we'll have an additional drawer under there. The couch always was going to have storage under it, but never in drawer form. So I'm really happy with this. I'll get one of those kits so I can, put a lead into here, so this can be a charging drawer, all modern and fancy. And then the couch will still fold open and there will be storage under here, but obviously it's impeded mostly by the wheel well, so that's for like blankets and such. So I think that's enough for this video. And like always, guys, thanks for watching. We're really making good progress. I know the lighting's still super weird in here. I don't have the final electrical hooked up. I know you've seen it work, but it's not done. So Eventually it'll happen and the lighting will start to get a lot better in these videos, but really coming together, starting to look like a home. So, like always, guys, thanks. Bye-bye.